Hey there, got a question for you. Do you believe that gaining weight and losing muscle mass are simply a part of getting older? If you're finding it harder to put on muscle as you get older, or you're finding that you are actually putting on weight and it's harder to lose even though your diet and exercise are the same, then watch this video to learn the Chinese medicine perspective on muscle mass, weight gain, and metabolism. Hi, I'm Holly, your friendly guide to self-healing with Chinese reflexology and the mind-body connection. So while aging can play a role in terms of muscle building and weight gain, the bigger issue, according to Chinese medicine, is a root imbalance that's been going on in your body over time. In the following video excerpt from my Hormone Helper program, you'll discover the relationship between muscle mass and weight gain and an organ that Western medicine does not typically associate with either of these. But in Chinese medicine, this is one of the most important, the primary organ related to nourishing your muscles and maintaining a healthy weight. So watch this video to learn how this organ and its associated energy meridian play a very influential role in terms of supporting muscle mass, maintaining your weight, and staying resilient as you get older. Now, let's talk about Chinese medicine. How does the spleen influence energy levels and metabolism? So it's said that the spleen governs transformation and transportation. So this is in relation to energy, energy from food. So it extracts gu qi, which is the energy. This is what Chinese medicine calls it. It extracts this life force from food, and then it helps distribute nutrients throughout the body. So if the spleen is weak, then it is less able to extract this energy from food. It's not as efficient at it. If there's less food being extracted, basically less nutrition is being supplied to the body, then there's going to be less energy for the body because this energy helps contribute to kidney jing, that life force battery. You know, the life force battery, reminder, it's a combination of congenital jing, what you inherit from your parents, and also the energy you derive from air, food, and drinks. So, if the spleen isn't doing its transformation and transportation as efficiently or as effectively, then that will impact energy levels. So, one of the classic signs in Chinese medicine of a spleen qi deficiency is fatigue. And also, another symptom is cold hands and feet because the spleen's not sending the stuff out to the limbs like it's supposed to distribute, like get all the way to the far reaches of the body, the feet and the hands. And so, again, and because the energy level's not being like, you know, if a fire starts to die down, you don't get as much heat from it, right? Same thing in the body, which is why there's that sense of cold. So now, along the same lines, this is how the spleen influences muscle mass and the ability to uh, build muscle, the ability to maintain muscle. And so it is not just simply quote unquote aging. So the spleen, it said it governs transformation and transportation. You just learned about that. It also is said that it controls the muscles and four limbs. So it is distributing these nutrients to the muscles and the four limbs. So what are these nutrients for? Key element is for the maintenance and the building of muscle. So if somebody has like weak limbs, you know, not very much strength, is very likely they have a spleen deficiency. So when the spleen is weak, then it's not adequately distributing. Well, first, it's not getting enough nutrient, and then it's also not adequately distributing it to support the muscles and the four limbs. And that is what leads to muscle loss and difficulty in maintaining muscle mass. It is not just, as I said, not just due to aging. It is that this imbalance has been going on for a long time, has not been addressed, and so things start to get worse. It finally manifests as physical issue of the muscles not getting the support they need uh, in order to, you know, maintain that structure and also, build new muscle. Now, I will caveat with this with as we get older, um, our chi, our energy, our yin, our yang, they do start to naturally decline with age. This is the life cycle, like the waxing and waning of the moon. This is life, the cycle of life. It's natural, right? So that may be another reason why people will notice things as they get older is because the things that they could do when they were younger, the body was like, on that waxing, more like full moon phase. And then as they get older, it's starting to wane. So it's like the body has less of less resources, and then they haven't been being used efficiently. And so as a result, then the problems start to show up. But you can still turn things around, okay? I just wanted to reassure you with that. Um, we can't cheat death, but we can certainly improve things so that we live our best lives and have as much energy as, you know, our bodies are meant to have at that age. We can do things to prevent the depletion of the energy, like that, drawing down the life force battery faster. And we can do things that help replenish the body. So basically, we're just looking after our bodies differently as we get older, and we probably should have been looking after our bodies this way when we were younger as well. Now, one more thing I want to talk about is how weight is influenced by the spleen. So it's also said that the spleen governs transformation and transportation of fluids in the body. So in the body, yin, like fluid is considered a yin element. So I've been talking about energy being yang. Well, fluid is a substance, it's yin. When the spleen is out of balance and weak, it impacts the spleen's ability to transform these and transport these fluids. Like basically, uh, you could consider alchemize them so that if there's too much fluid in the body, it will help, clear it out properly. So if it's weak, it's said that dampness, that's the term Chinese medicine uses, can accumulate in the body. So somebody who has edema can very likely will have a spleen deficiency. If you have a feeling of heaviness in your body, or like a puffy feeling, that is very likely a spleen deficiency. So another classic symptom of spleen qi deficiency is to have like a puffy tongue, a pale puffy tongue, where you see little teeth marks on the edge of it. So because the spleen is not, the dampness is accumulating in the tongue, it's a little bit puffy, and then that's it then presses against the teeth, which leads to the teeth marks. Now, Chinese medicine considers fat to be yin. It would categorize fat as yin. So excess weight in the body is this excess yin element, or you could call it this excess dampness in the body, which is why if the spleen is weak, it's not doing its job of transforming the dampness, and then stuff starts to accumulate, and then it becomes this extra weight. So oftentimes, if somebody has a spleen deficiency when they're younger, it means that spleen's not able to extract the nutrients properly. Instead of so if you're somebody who was always skinny and then you gained weight in midlife, what's happening then is when you were younger, if you had a spleen deficiency, maybe you had digestive issues or digestive sensitivities, the spleen was weak, and then that impacted your digestion. You just didn't have much appetite, and so you were underweight. And then over time, what happens is the spleen qi deficiency continues, and then the dampness starts to accumulate, and then the weight starts to be put on as one approaches midlife. It's because, again, not just due to hormones or aging. From Chinese medicine perspective, is the spleen qi deficiency just has been going on a very long time, and now the dampness or the fat is accumulating in the body. So here's the summary about the weight. So the spleen governs transformation and transportation of fluids in the body. I just explained that. Now, it also controls the muscles and four limbs. If one is losing muscle mass, most people are familiar with this, like the muscle is important for glucose metabolism. So if there's a loss of muscle, then the body's, less muscle to uptake glucose. in the body, and so which means can lead to higher blood glucose levels, which can lead to higher insulin levels, which it's known that high insulin levels are associated with weight gain. It's like a hormone that's, triggers the body to store fat. So in that sense, yes, there is definitely a hormonal link, but from a Chinese medicine perspective, the real root is the weak spleen. When the spleen is weak, less energy, so somebody's going to be feeling tired and fatigued, going to be less likely to exercise, right? With the loss of muscle mass, lowers the body's utilization of blood glucose, and then that leads to the higher insulin, leading to increase of fat storage. And the weakening of spleen happens over time. So as I said, it's very classic symptom when someone is younger, they're underweight, and then they become overweight with quote unquote age. And if you'd like to build muscle to help maintain a healthy body weight, to stay stronger as you get older, and build your body's resilience, then I invite you to join me for a workshop with guest instructor, Master David Way. He'll share with you a traditional practice that is used in martial arts to build strength, but there is no martial arts experience required, and all fitness levels are welcome. So as you learned in this video, supporting your spleen can help nourish your muscles, but you can also strengthen and help harmonize your body with this traditional Chinese practice. It builds strength, it builds vitality, and it builds resilience. And you can think of it a bit like a yin-yang, where there is this symbiotic relationship. Stronger muscles help promote that balance in your overall body, and that helps to support and strengthen your spleen. And when your spleen is stronger and supported, that helps to build and nourish your muscles. So if you're curious to learn more, I invite you to click the link below this video. I hope to see you in the Strong Legs, a Strong Life workshop. Bye for now.